Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. I am Tanya E. Hood, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, it simply means I've worn a lot of different hats in my life that have helped me develop a full range of strategies and actionable steps that I've used to help my clients make a strategic impact, both personally and professionally, to have better than what life has been giving them. Red Alert Diaries is based on the life lessons from my premier book, Red Alert. Is He the One? The Pocket Guide to Finding the Love of Your Life. And if you read that book, you already know that I got married at 21. And after 11 years of marriage, I found myself going through a divorce, having to raise my two sons alone. To reset my life and survive my divorce, I took the time I needed to get to know me better, which opened me up to new love again. So now I'm in a new marriage to the love of my life and my best friend, which just proves there is life after divorce. On this podcast, we have conversations that's real talk, marriage, divorce, money, and legacy. I want you to join me on the journey. And today I want to have a conversation about chaos because it seems like chaos has taken its reign and is running amok. A lot of us find ourselves in a position where we're not quite sure what to do or how to deal with some of the situations that we have encountered. You see, chaos will make you think that you have to gather all this strength to get through it, or otherwise you won't make it. I want you to know that a lot of people give you all sorts of thoughts and things that you can do along the way. And I think, I think I've tried about everything that somebody can say that you can do. I've often heard it told that just let it be and it will straighten out on its own. That is so far from the truth, it kind of makes me laugh. You see, the thing that my grandmother told me that I forgot when I was little is that you have to define what you're going through so that you can deal with it. I forgot that lesson. And because I forgot that lesson after my divorce, chaos ran amok. But what I learned is something that a friend of mine, Shannon, often says: chaos is just an illusion. And that is such a true statement because chaos can't do anything all by itself. You see, chaos needs some support. What chaos does is grab a wagon. It grabs that wagon and it goes knocking on doors, finding somebody that can support it. And one of the first ones that jump onto the wagon of chaos is fear. You see, fear will hold you hostage. Fear will cause you to stay longer in situations than you desire, make you feel like you are a prisoner in the life that you tried to create for yourself. Fear will make you do things that you never imagined that you would do because you believe it will protect you. And because you think you're protected, you end up down a path that chaos just keeps walking through that you no longer make decisions on to be present in. I want you to understand that you can make a decision to let chaos stay at the door. It's not going to be easy, but it is doable. And I discovered that because chaos has a tendency to bring some other things that you got to fight through. And if you don't make a decision to define it early, then you're going to have more than just fear show up at your door. Because in that wagon, while chaos is walking through, trying to make its way to your place, along the way, low self-esteem sees the wagon and decides it's going to jump on. When low self-esteem sets in, on top of fear, then you no longer trust yourself. You no longer trust your decisions to make certain that you are whole. And so you acquiesce. You let others choose for you. You let others make decisions for you. And some of those decisions may not be to your benefit. I want you to take a look at what's going on in your life and start defining it. If you need to define the things that you are afraid of, define it. Define it now so that you don't have to keep walking through that mess. And if you find that you have been in a position where you've acquiesced so long that you lost who you are, that low self-esteem that lets another member on the wagon of chaos show up, called approval. See, approval makes those that end up in low moments of self-esteem decide that you have to have approval before you can move forward with anything. I walked through that path because I would not have thought myself to be an individual of low self-esteem. But when I got off the heels of my divorce, it left me broke and broken. And in that brokenness, the low self-esteem that I had caused me to second guess some things. Some of you have heard that I struggled just to get out of bed because I did not want to have to choose what to fix myself for breakfast. You see, low self-esteem, seeking approval, operating in fear, those are the things that chaos brings with it because it cannot do anything to you alone. Because what chaos does is add those things onto the wagon and it lets them duke it out because each one of them wants to take the lead. And as fear tries to lead your life, low self esteem tries to lead your life, and approval tries to take over, then others see that there looks like this is a party wagon. So other things want to jump on that wagon, like twin sisters. I call these twin sisters the twin sisters of death because death occurs in two forms: physical and spiritual. Now, we understand physical death, and it breaks our heart to have to walk through those elements. But sometimes we forget about the spiritual death, the parts of your soul that no longer resonate to who you are. You see, in losing me to low self-esteem and seeking approval, I lost Tanya's joy. I lost Tanya's peace. And those things were found and resonated in the core being of who I am. When I allowed myself to go down a path of fear and lose who I was, I lost the very essence of my being. That is spiritual death. We have a tendency to want to watch movies like The Walking Dead because we see zombies. Well, those are individuals that unfortunately is like a representation of what too many people walk through now. We don't look all crazy and chaotic like it happens in the movie, but your soul is no longer resonating. The life is no longer in your eyes. You are just doing life day to day. You get up, you go to work, you come home. You get up, you go to work, you come home. You no longer dream. You no longer have hope. You no longer seek a path to make certain that you can be okay with whatever you are walking through. I want to encourage you today to stop allowing chaos to have its wagon of drama show up because it can do nothing to you, but it does require you to do some work in defining what you're dealing with. Because what happens with the twin sisters of death, they have a boyfriend that comes in and out of their lives. It's called depression. You see, when depression gets on the wagon of chaos, that one can take you out because depression brings along with it something called facade. You see, when facade and depression gets in alignment, facade has a mask on. So you're not really certain that facade is coming behind depression because we will put on the mask. Put on a mask of the smile to make everybody around you think that everything is okay. Put on a mask of strength, letting people think that you're strong enough to carry the weight that is about to take you out. We have got to get to a place where we start making decisions to allow ourselves to be healthy and whole. And if it says, I need to take a moment to not walk down that path because I don't want the chaos to start bringing its wagon and knocking on my door with all that crap on it. Not built to handle all of that. And you do not have to walk that journey alone. But a lot of us don't know that. You see, I didn't know that either when depression came because I continued to put on the facade of I'm okay. You see, I'm the one that everybody usually went to. If somebody needed some help, I was the one that gave it. If somebody needed support, I was the one that gave it. But for those of us that give support on a regular basis, it's just in your heart to be helpful. And you can often find yourself in a place where you have given more than you have to give, and you now are pouring from an empty cup, trying to figure out how you're going to get to the next step, how you're going to make it through your next moment when you have nothing left to give. I want you to know that it's okay to put yourself in reserve. Start balancing out some things in your life. Put a plan in place and some strategies. That's one of the first things I had to start working on. When I strategized how to give myself the support that I freely gave. When chaos came knocking with its wagon of all the drama that I just finished explaining, I did not have to open the door and let them in. But because I had no strategy, my desire to see chaos and wanting to help it out, I opened the door and let it through. Having a strategy balanced out my support system. And then here's something else that I had to do next: put a plan in place with a goal. You can have strategies and actionable steps, but if you never take the time to put a goal of when you will apply it, how you will perform in it, you may end up being in a space and a place like I was on the bathroom floor of that two-bedroom apartment, struggling because twin sisters came at me from both ends on that day, and I needed help. And I'm grateful that I learned to do something that my grandmother told me. She said, when you get to the end of your rope, because sometimes God will let us get to the end of ourselves before we get the opportunity to see Him different. See, I was raised in church most of my life. And in that environment, I was taught that God is the creator of the universe. He's this big ethereal being out there that seems almost intangible. And if that was my only vision of God, I was never going to make it, because that is what I held on to and that's what I had. And I knew about Jesus being here on the earth, walking and talking, and it should have made some sense to me, but it didn't, because religion doesn't help you understand that God wants us to be in relationship. When Jesus came, He came to give us an example of what relationship looks like. And I'm so grateful that when I finally decided to pick up that book to get a different understanding, Jesus was the one that I read that said, these are my brothers and sisters, those that are looking to have the heart to serve my Father like I do, those that want to draw near to Him, He will draw near to them. And in the bathroom floor of that two-bedroom apartment, I remember that day that I needed to draw near to God. I needed to draw near to a being greater than myself. Now, you may not believe in the God I serve, nor do you have to. But I want you to know that if you ever need a source greater than yourself, who better than the creator of the universe, who took the time to pour out His deity, to be present so that you can get the chance to know that you don't have to do this thing called life by yourself. When chaos comes knocking, here's what I do now. I ask my big brother Jesus to go answer the door, because I realize that chaos has to bring other things with it. And I don't want to have to deal with fear, depression, low self-esteem, approval, and all the other chaotic things that I have dealt with in my past. I don't have to keep doing that. Jesus can answer the door for me. And I've learned that He's real, because a lot of you have already heard the chicken nugget story. That moment gave me the opportunity to recognize that God is real. When I cry out, He will answer. When I need peace, and I recognize chaos is still going to knock on the door, because I'm not exempt from what happens. But what I do now, what I do now is call on my big brother. Now, let me pause before the super duper saints come knocking on my door. Do not inbox me about anything saying that I am being sacrilegious because I've called Jesus my big brother. You see, here's the thing that I love: when you have an environment that recognizes the relationship of the triune God. When you are in an environment that is Bible believing, Christ centered, and spirit led, that environment recognizes that it's about relationship. And if you need a place that can help you understand and be okay to get a deeper knowledge about relationship, I encourage you to join me. I do participate and I attend a church. It's called the First Baptist Church of Highland Park, located in Landover, Maryland. That church is a church that helped me really solidify what relationship means. Because what God does in relationship is let individuals that have a heart like His to serve show up for you. Like my girlfriend did that day when she bought me groceries to help me get out of the chaos that I found myself in when I ended up on the bathroom floor of that two-bedroom apartment. The support that I have needed along the way, I have found in the body of believers that have a heart to serve, that recognize Jesus is their big brother too. And so for today, if you don't remember anything else I've shared, here's the one thing I want you to know. You don't have to let chaos knock on the door. You can get the support that you need. And if you want to join me in having a conversation about how I've got through it with Jesus as my guide, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website and go into the Contact Me tab. There we can have a separate conversation because I know that this is not for everybody. But if you find yourself after your divorce or in the middle of some of the chaos where you have issues with your self-esteem, issues with some fear, issues with some depression, I can walk you through some of the things that have made me whole. I am looking forward to being a support system to you, like I have had others be a support system to me. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.